Hello, hi. I'm Marley and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm Wendy and I'm from Chicago. I'm Alexis and I'm from New York. And I'm Liz and I'm from Chicago. Welcome to the Sound Off Lady Show. I'm so excited and about this episode. We're going to jump right into it right now, okay? Okay. Thank you for your time. I'm going to read off this. Wawa Snipe. Warren Snipe is also known as Wawa, who is a deaf rapper. He was born in Pennsylvania and went to a mainstream school. That school did have a deaf ed program. However, Wawa was never in that deaf ed program because his teachers and administrations deemed him capable without any accommodations or an IEP. In high school, Wawa saw many deaf kids signing, and he always thought that the signing was some sort of Morse code for communication. He had no idea. He graduated high school and went to Gallaudet. He graduated Gallaudet in 1994, and then he found the ASL language. It blew his mind. He immersed right into signing in the deaf community. In 2005, he picked up the microphone. He never put the microphone down. He is a founder of the Wild Zappers. He writes music and raps. He never stopped. He always continued. He's also an actor and a dancer as well. Talk about a multi-talented man. Recently, Wawa showed up at the Super Bowl this year in Tampa. It was amazing. He sang America the Beautiful and the national anthem. Did you guys see that? Yeah, wow. It was breathtaking. Okay, without further ado, welcome Wawa to our show. Yay, awesome. Hello. Hello, my beautiful queens. Thanks for having me here today. Nice to meet you. We're so excited to have you on our show today. We can't wait to start talking with you and asking new questions and listening to what you have to say, okay? Are we ready? I'm ready. I'm very honored and humble to be here. Thank you for being with us. Same. Awesome. We're going to dive right into it. I have learned that you grew up without any access to school communication in school. And every day you drove by the Pennsylvania School of the Deaf and you had no idea it was there because you went to mainstream school. You didn't have any way access to sign language or communication. How did you do that through school? And what tools did you use to get through school without sign language? Really, it helped a lot with having my teachers did understand a little bit, and my friends and other students helped me with notes. I read a lot. Every day in class, I would sit at the front of the classroom. Every time I was able to read or watch the teacher and learn that way. One time I wanted to sit in the back of the classroom, but I knew I couldn't. I had to be front and center. That's how I progressed through school. Do you lip read? Yes, I read lips a lot. But if my teacher had his back to us when he was writing onto the board, I couldn't see him. So I had to just wait until he turned back around. That's just how it worked. The system I worked off of. Wow, you are very skilled. In Chicago, there was a mainstream school with a deaf education program with teachers who signed, but were you able to was your experience similar to Wawa, Alexis? Same. I had no access to the deaf ed classroom. I was trying to communicate for the first time, and I did receive an interpreter at um, in high school, and it was so easy to understand. Did you have a note taker? No, me, I didn't. Wawa, I had no idea there was such a thing as note taking. I didn't understand or see that until I went to college. I was like, wow, that is a luxury to have note takers. I thought it was really cool they had that accessibility. I remember when I went to college was the first time I had a note taker. I thought it was so cool. I could just sit there and pay attention to the lecture, but because there's no way you can watch the lecture and take notes at the same time. Wow. Hats off to you. Wow. When did you have a question? Yes. I am curious, Wawa, but first I wanted to tell you how amazing your performance was at the Super Bowl. It was extremely beautiful, Wawa. Thank you very much. Okay, Wawa, I'm very curious about how you came up with your name, your nickname, since it was Warren, and how you came up with Wawa. All right, there's two reasons. When I was growing up, my name was Warren, but I can never speak the R. And later in life, I could, but it would still come out as Wa, and I couldn't still say the R as well. And the second reason was when I entered college, many people who knew me growing up would call me Warren. However, when they said my name, all I could hear was wah 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 wah. So I just said I'd keep my name. It's better just to keep Wawa. So those are the two reasons that I developed that name, that nickname. Well, I, Marley, have a hard time saying the L. Till this day, when I went to a store or something, they would ask me my name and I would try to say my name, but they would always miss the L. So sometimes I just say, hi, I'm Debbie instead. Same thing with me in school. Liz says they always forgot the S. And that's why signing's so important, right? Amen. Yeah. And one follow-up question. When you were growing up and you had no idea that there was access to, or you didn't have any access to the deaf community, did you have mentors that helped you through school, or how did you do that? When I was growing up and I went to college, I didn't have a mentor, but I did observe a lot about what was happening. For example, I didn't know I didn't know there's other deaf people like me out there. I thought I was all alone. When I entered school, I was like, wow. So when I entered Gallaudet, I was like, wow, there's people like me. I had known that there were only a few people who had hearing aids, and growing up, I had never seen them sign. So I was dumbfounded. I was like, wow, okay, there's so many other people like me. Let's go. Let's start signing. And that was a whole mind opening for me. I'll never forget that first time, and I'm very grateful for that. And that's your life, right? Your life completely changed then. It opened you up to many possibilities going to Gallaudet. Did you feel like you were home at Gallaudet? And you're like, oh my gosh, I understand that I'm deaf and that there's a deaf community. I was a little bit scared and nervous. I didn't know how I was going to be accepted. And I didn't know how I could communicate going forward since I didn't know sign language. So I did start a program called NSP, New Signers Program. And I completed that program 2 weeks before, or 3 weeks before. 3 weeks and that's it. Wow. It was one course. It was a fast crash course. and I was able to learn sign language very quickly. I was signing so much that I was signing in my sleep, you know? I really completely immersed myself into it. And I was able to take my hearing aid off for the first time. I was always told never to take your hearing aid off. You always needed to leave it on to hear everything. But at Gallaudet, they said, no, go ahead, take off your hearing aid. I said, really? I'm not going to get punished for this? And they said, no, go ahead. I absorbed so much learning sign language that way. I have a question, Alexa says. How old were you when you started college? How old was I? 16. 16? Wow, wow. You were young, young and oblivious. Wow. So you graduated high school and transitioned right to Gallaudet and started communication with deaf people there, right? I wasn't the only one that was 16 that went to Gallaudet. I found out there was a girl from another country that was also 16. I got accepted at several other universities, but when one of my teachers told me about Gallaudet, that there was deaf people like you, the term hard of hearing was what I used to call myself. And other people would call me hard of hearing. And my teacher says, there's a college for you. And I said, yeah, right. You can learn sign language there. I thought sign language was like Morse code. Wow. So this opened up a completely new experience for me. And when I went to Gallaudet, I realized that there's some hearing and some deaf people. I was so amazed. And so I decided not to go to any other colleges and go to Gallaudet. I had no regrets in this. That was beautiful. Again, it really opened my mind for me. Yeah, thank you. I know what you mean about that. Speaking of Gallaudet, you graduated and then you became a Gallaudet recruiter. Is that correct? I thought that was something that's very interesting, and that's what Alexis is interested in as well. You go to different schools in different areas and try to recruit different students to go to Gallaudet. Is that correct? I'm interested if there's any other teachers or anyone that was resistant to going to Gallaudet. Like resistance where I had to intervene, or yeah, students or teachers that were resistant and didn't want to go to Gallaudet and for a school for the deaf. I didn't see any students that were very resistant, but very curious and but I did experience teachers and administrations being very resistant and would degrade the deaf student. And they would give them instead of giving them a degree, they would give me a certificate. And with a certificate, you can never succeed like that. And if you're talking to a deaf student like that, those teachers are talking about me. Did they think that I was like that too? So administrations and teachers felt like they had a lot of power and they had a lot of power over their life. So there was 2 times where I did have to take action, where a student was the top of his class, but the teacher said no, they only wanted to give him a certificate and not a degree. That's wrong. And I said the student is the top of his class and the top of his school, and the principal wasn't doing much about it. So I decided to go discuss with the principal and people higher above the principal because he was still resistant. And I went to the district in that area and explained that that student needed to take and to move on with a degree, and his test scores were even amazing as well. So they gave him a degree and he transferred to Gallaudet. Wow, you changed that person's life, Alexa says. And now that student's a teacher himself. Wow. It was scary because I could have gotten in trouble for trying to, and I wasn't trying to ruffle people's feathers, but I just wanted to do what's best for the student. You did what you believed in, and your job was to recruit, and your job wasn't always to just recruit the students, but encourage them to follow their dreams and believe in themselves and try new things outside of high school. Yeah. And do you still recruit now? Yes, I still do. It's really sad because we have to figure out what they can do after school and encourage them to do that. Oh, yeah, so many. We need to change that. Yep, we have to continue to do a lot of work and not just ignore what's happening and take action. You're right. Right. You were the founder of the Wild Zappers, and I can see that brings a smile to your face. And I know you're very proud of that and about the music and dance and showing children that they can still enjoy those things even though they're deaf. And I'm just asking, what were you trying to achieve exactly with the kids and the families? Okay, the purpose of the Wild Zappers, this is the sign, Wild Zappers, okay, was to educate people all around the world that us deaf people can enjoy music and acting and dancing. Many parents were looking at the children like they can't hear, so why would they enjoy music? And maybe they learned a lot of sign language, but we showed them how they can enjoy that all around the world. They can see their faces change from kids believe in themselves and boost their confidence. That program showed the parents as well, and they were completely surprised. They were like, my child can do that? Some cried. They were so happy. They were so proud of their children taking pictures. So that was our reward. You opened the doors for them. You paved the way. You boost their self-esteem. Wow, that is beautiful. Yes, very important to feel open and able to do those things. In the school I went to, it was a whole deaf school, and we had drama classes and music classes, and many of the families said, wow. And we were able to really grow in that program. It was amazing. It changed our lives. And I was very shy growing up, Liz says. I said, no, I didn't want to try that. And Marley pulled me on stage because Marley and Liz went to the same school, deaf school. And here I am. So thank you, Marley. You too can see that your self-esteem is growing. And if I can see I can do that in other people, it's amazing to find skills that you never thought you had before. And the luck of success within, starting within you, is really amazing. We also need more people like you in the world. And you're an actor too, right? And you've done very many appearances in TV, and you also played in a couple episodes of Black Lightning. Is that correct? And you had your own. Oh, what was the sign for Black Panther? Black Panther. And so tell me more about that. And what did that look like for you? Did they have access for you for an interpreter on set, or how did that experience go for you? Black Lightning was the best experience for me ever. The best? Yeah, they were like family to me. End of discussion. It was amazing. I didn't have to fight for anything. I got the role for that, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but they assigned 2 interpreters for me. They wanted to make sure how they can best support me, and they asked me where the interpreter should sit, here or there, next to the director. It was beautiful. And the director himself used to work with several deaf actors in the past, so he was really familiar with that. Great, nice. We discussed a lot and interacted, and my role for that was really supposed to be a 1-day thing, and that's it, one time on the show. But he said, no way, you need to come back again. Woohoo, yes. Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it. So my role in that I acted as a grandpa who was a tough and grumpy but a leader in the community. And he was the only deaf person in the community. Yes, Champ, you were a great actor. And my daughter herself, of course, she was a coda. And she gave birth to 2 kids with magic. And I was so grouchy about many things. And I was a mean grabber, but I loved the role. So many people said I need to come back on set. So I actually appeared 4 times on the Black Panther show. It was amazing. We really worked as a team. That opportunity was amazing for you, and that can show other deaf actors that they can do it too, and they can follow in your footsteps. It's important to show that you had a top role in that show, and more deaf people can carry on and follow that dream too and be a lead actor in a role. And I also wanted to show that Black actors can be in the main role as well. I wanted to open the door for me and other Black people like my brother Sean. He's great. I wanted more deaf actors and musicians to have an open door for success, and many of them are super skilled, but they tend to be overlooked and rejected and not hired for the positions. And I say that needs to stop. Yep, it's enough. We've had enough. It's the 21st century, you know? Uh, it shows that you are not invisible, right? It's very frustrating. So, recently I was thinking, what was it that you just did? What was it? Super Bowl. Yay. They were bursting with cheers, and you stood there and poured out all the love. You went all out, you really did. You made us very happy and proud. I was in tears. Yes, I was too, Liz says. I was looking around, and you don't know people that don't even know you call you their friend. Alexis and Howard Rosenblum from NAAD came together every year and have an ASL performer do the national anthem. And America the Beautiful. They select an authentic deaf ASL performer, right? I want to thank NAD for doing this. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I still have goosebumps. And that experience at the Super Bowl too will be in history books. I'm so proud. Yes. Now, Alexis and Wawa, tell us more about your experience this year. What was it like, and how did it feel working with all those people and signing? How did you decide how your signing style and the various different, all those questions in one? Go ahead, Wawa, you go first. Alexa says, first of all, it was a blessing to be part of this. I wanted to, or it was a dream come true for me. I've been wanting to be involved with the Super Bowl, but I wanted to perform at the halftime show. Why not? They should have done that. Let's work on those four ladies can sing in the background. Alexis and Howard, it was an amazing experience. So even though I wanted to perform at the halftime show, I said that, well, there's a pregame. So that was the beautiful first step, okay? Plus, I love what I do. So when you give it all, you win. And I really wanted to represent the deaf community in USA and the world and give people a beautiful experience of what it looks like to sign and that deaf people can do that. And it was amazing to see people's reactions and facial expressions. Visual vernacular, I think. Gestures are almost like international signs. But instead of signs, there was different shapes, like the White House or the stars or the flag. And able to expand on that, it was beautiful. Not just the point, I wanted to improvise. I just wanted to dive into it and really add the facial expressions in my signs and incorporate the singer's emotions and facial expressions if I can. So, Alexis, I'm sorry. I'm nervous and really excited about this. Alexis and Howard helped me give feedback on my signing, like making it bigger and everything, and your own space. Yeah, yes, they were just giving me some feedback, and I really love that feedback and that structure so I can get a better idea how to work as a team. The three of us worked together and they were a champ. I love that. I love teamwork. And bless you and Harold for everything. I wanted to add one thing, Alexa says, when it's a challenge when you had with the music itself. And because it's different than how you figure out how to solve. So, how was that for you? Okay. Typically, you see the national anthem in a musical the Braid with a strong beat, like, oh, say, can you see? A very strong, sharp, almost military type. But this recent one was different. You have a country singer and you have an R&B singer, very different music genres in one. So that was the foundation. I didn't really sing that. They tell you the story with, kind of a southern drawl. And then when you have R&B style, and I just didn't know how to shift between those. So I can't just roll shift like this. So I decided to combine them both to make it flow better. So, and for America the Beautiful, she is an amazing singer. So her style most of the time was singing. At first, when she played the guitar only, I just stood there. I didn't want to just stand there during the whole song. So I decided to assess that song and make it more clear. She's talking about America, so that's why I decided to expand on that itself. America itself with VV. Marlene went up beautiful. For example, when she started playing the guitar, I started with the Statue of Liberty. and when the White House in Washington, D.C., and then St. Louis. And how do you identify that? I made a gesture to convey the gateway and the mountains and the valleys and Hollywood. Who can forget that? And then a river, and it went in reverse and back to New York. So I was traveling at the same time. You can see it from an angle, from a bird's eye view. So that was nice. And then she started singing a little bit, and I couldn't catch it at first. So I asked my daughter if she could help me, and she said yes. And I asked my daughter, what did she say? And that helped me identify more. And with lots of practice, Marley said, yes, of course. So both songs weren't your typical songs. They were very different. So it was a challenge, but I said, challenge accepted. Perfect. You just combined the two. That was amazing. That was perfect. I read an article somewhere yesterday that made my day. There's a quote that said, Wawa Snipe, the performer that signed the national anthem and America the Beautiful, with his interpreter, meaning the singers. And that showed that you were the performer. Yes, and that made my day. And the hearing people, the singers, were your interpreters. I love that reading, that you were the main performer. It was beautiful. Wow, I didn't expect that. I love that. I have a last question for you. Alexa says, you had a lot of publicity, and from Entertainment Tonight, Today, and many more. Many people are huge fans for you, and the world saw it, and the world was grateful for it. And the world saw beautiful ASL. And having an ASL performer at the Super Bowl, which is the largest stage in the world. Do you hope people will, what do you hope people will take away from your performance? Because when they read something about you, what do you want them to say? Unity now. Yes. Yep. Since the pandemic and before that, there were a lot of madness in the country, and we forgot who we really are. We forgot that. We forgot what it means to make this country. The good, the bad, and the ugly. But we still push and strive for the best. And we didn't do it by ourselves. We only can do it together. And I want to see and understand how people can not just include each other. We have to work together, regardless of the background, creed, sexuality, disability. The time is now. It's ridiculous to separate people like that. I mean, honestly, I can tell people, some people who are hearing, if you lose your hearing, what resources do you have? We are here to help and help you be ready. Come on, we're ready right here. So I feel like it's just a time to stand together and be proud in a healing process. It's just not the US who is dealing with this, it's the whole world. The pandemic really turned the world upside down. We need to come together now. Yes, together, amazing. I have one more question for you, says Wendy. I wanted to address that, how you made that unity, because watching your performance made me feel so proud to be an American citizen. And it was very important that you remind us of that. Agreed, says Alexis. It was beautiful, and your smile was infectious. So thank you for reminding us of that unity. Thank you, Wawa. Thank you. Beautiful. Everybody smiled, says Liz. No one could stop smiling. He made us smile. I can't complain. I'm in awe of you, Wawa, and all my beautiful ladies here who make everything good with everything in front of you, and how to make good and how to be an example. Unity, like you said, is very important, especially at this time. And all the divide and the hate and the attacking, we just need to put that aside and remind that we are human and that all kinds of humans. And that's why I'm so happy that to be doing the sound off ladies because conversations, because you have you on this morning is such a treat. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you for being deaf and who you are and continuing to inspire other people. I have goosebumps right now. Thank you so much. All I can say, without him, I couldn't have done this, period. Without God, I feel blessed and I really feel honored to do this. And why not? If you have the skill, then why not share that skill with someone else and show some love? And I mean that. Take care of your beautiful family, your wife, and all. I wish nothing but the best for you. And enjoy the ride now, the wonderful ride. Yes, and continue. Thank you so much. Bye. Love you. Thank you so much.